Sure.
Yeah, that sounds good. Jackie will pull up our presentation. Thank you for everyone who's signing on, and hopefully we'll have a few more join us again. I recognize some of the same people who are with us in February at our last presentation, so we're happy to have you back, and welcome if this is your first one that you're on. Jackie's going to start when she's the presentation up. We are going to do a little recap of what we talked about in February, but it's no worries if you weren't there. We were very interactive last time, and we're going to push to do that again. So I hope that everyone will feel comfortable and ready and willing to participate. We learned a lot from you all as well with sharing last time.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Positive Solutions for Families, Teach Me What to Do. I'm Jacqueline Janik, and I'm the preschool coordinator. Today with Stephanie Shade, the CPIS, we're going to talk about what to do when your child is having challenging behavior, or actually what to do to help prevent challenging behaviors. So the first thing we wanted to ask if anybody was at our last Parent Academy and if you tried any of the things we talked about. One was to observe your child and see if you can determine what your child was trying to communicate through a behavior, or if anybody maybe made a rules chart and have been reviewing their rules with your child. How's it going? If you want to put that in the chat, and tell us if anybody tried anything that we talked about last time. I can't really see who's here to see if I recognize anybody.
I have two of the names written down, but I don't want to call anyone out. If you're not comfortable right now, that's okay. Like I said, hopefully more people were joining us, and towards the end, we'll stay on for questions and answers too. So if you want to.
Thanks, Mrs. Matthews. So she's saying she thinks it's helping to explain what to do instead of what not to do. Right. We really talked about telling them what you want to see your child do by stating
in a positive frame.
It in a positive way, not in a negative way. Don't hit, keep your hands to yourself instead. Thank you. So thank you for sharing. And it's great to hear that you're trying and it seems to be working. So for the rest of the evening, we're going to discuss some strategies and ideas that you can teach your child that will hopefully help when challenging behaviors start to arise. So we're going to talk about some emotional literacy, controlling anger, and handling disappointment and problem solving. As children's emotional vocabulary grows, their ability to accurately read their own and others' emotions grows too. This gives your child more tools to use instead of having those challenging behaviors. It is, if you want to build a house, you're going to get really frustrated if you don't have the tools you need to be successful. So Miss Stephanie's going to go into that a little bit.
Yeah. So that first bullet point was emotional literacy. And what that means, really, we're talking about the vocabulary, emotional vocabulary. It's similar when you think of young children and they're starting out learning. There's a high importance on teaching children to read and write and develop vocabulary for that. But there's also a high importance on your emotional vocabulary that teaches you really how to interact in the world. So when we say emotional vocabulary, what it is the ability to recognize, label, and understand feelings in oneself and in others. So you could look at those images there real quickly and see we're all, adults are on here now. Over the span of our lives, we've built an emotional literacy where we can kind of say and all agree, the girl in the bottom right corner, she looks like she feels happy right now. So we would say that person's feeling happy. But if you look at the top left one, we might even have differences still, even having learned our emotional vocabulary. Some of us may think that she looks scared. She's got everything for scared, the wide eyes. She doesn't have that gaping mouth for scared or surprised, but you don't always have that. Someone else may think she looks more frustrated or overwhelmed, but we've built that vocabulary over our lifespan. So with our children, it's important to teach them the vocabulary. It's a foundation to help the ability to control their emotions. develop relationships and interact with others and become effective problem solvers. So we want to teach these skills because they'll then replace, those challenging behaviors. We talked about last session, challenging behaviors are just a way of communicating. And with our children, a lot of times it's that we talked about that can't versus won't. Is it something the child cannot do because they were not taught it, or they don't haven't learned how, or they simply won't? So if we don't build their vocabulary, they're likely in the category of they cannot do it yet. So we'll go to the next one. Children with a strong foundation in emotional vocabulary. I'm just going to read through these bullet points with you. They tolerate frustration better. They get into fewer fights, engage in less destructive behavior, are healthier, are less lonely, are less impulsive, are more focused, and have greater academic achievement. I don't know if any of those surprise you on the list or not, but to me, they really all make sense because, again, our emotional vocabulary, our ability to understand, label, and respond to our own others' emotions helps us to interact in everyday life. So those are some really important reasons why that this would be an important topic. So again, enhancing emotional vocabulary of our children. How can we do that? There's a bullet list here. I'm going to go through them and give some examples as we're going through them. So we want to talk about our feelings. We talk about our own feelings. A lot of self-talk. You can wake up and something happens to you and you could say, I'm feeling tired today. So your child can start to understand and learn what that looks like, or maybe what that looks like on another person. Sorry. Ask your child to tell you how he or she feels, by simply just asking your child, how do you feel? Teaching new emotion words. So that's what we're really talking about here, building that vocabulary. Frustrated, anxious. Some of those may be new words for your children. Talk about how characters in a book, a video, or TV may feel. So use those as learning opportunities. And then real life situations, reflect on situations and discuss the feelings. If you're at a party and something happens, talk to your child about that situation after it happened. So-and-so took your toy ball. How did that make you feel? Accept and support your child's expression of feelings. All feelings are valid. And you'll hear me say that a lot, probably. Very, very important. Use books or art activities to talk about emotions. Talk about your own feelings again in a variety of situations. So always just sharing your own feelings with your children. Describe how certain ways that these feelings look. Oh, you might say to your child, oh, your mouth is open and your eyes are wide. Are you feeling surprised right now? You can describe pictures in magazines and books as well. And you could also pretend. You can use stuffed animals or puppets and assign feeling words to them. So what's really important from that slide is you're helping them learn different words to label their own feelings and the feelings of others. It's important to help them understand your feelings can change. Just because you wake up feeling grumpy doesn't mean that you have to stay or you're going to feel grumpy all day. And different people can feel differently about things. A situation that may make you feel excited may have another child or person feel afraid or scared. So again, all feelings are valid, and it's really what we do with them that counts. So we can't control how or when our feelings come, but we can control how we respond and react to them. So the first part of that is building our vocabulary and knowing what the feelings are and learning how to label them. So now we're going to go into a little activity. Miss Jackie has the instructions up there. She's going to paste into our chat that link. If you're on a computer, you should be able to click that link to participate right away. And she'll share her screen again with those responses. But it's going to bring you to a poll. You can just put your name in, or if you want, and you're going to type emotional words, feelings words that you know of, that you think your child may know, that you use with your child. There's no right or wrong. So I'll just type in happy to get us started, and we'll start to see people's responses come up. Is anyone having trouble getting the poll to open?
So you can either click that link that's in the chat, or if your phone is available, you could do it. Oh, yeah, I see some new words popping up.
Jackie, do you want to switch your screen to share those words as they come up? It's okay.
I shared I didn't share my tab.
Yeah, okay, here we go. Yes, some words are popping up. Happy, mad, sad, excited, angry. Keep them coming. We're going to give you a minute or two to do this. The next slide, I actually have a lot of feelings words to share with you. So let's see how many we can come up with. Frustrated, cranky, surprised, poopy. I like that. For little letters. Another one.
If you notice that happy is the biggest one there, that means the most people put in happy. So the more people type it in, the bigger the words are.
Right. So it looks like you're happy, angry, and sad have been typed more than once. Excited. Awesome. Tired, upset, thrilled, stressed. You guys did a great job.
All right, you want to close the poll? And
yeah, so we'll go ahead and close the poll, but you guys got, can't count that fast. 1, 2, 3, at least 15 words in there, it looks like. So on the next slide, if we switch back to the presentation, there is a slide of feelings words to share, and this has over 70 words on it. So, research has shown that children who are 3 to 5 years old who are developing language typically understand the below words on this feelings chart. Like I said, there's over 70 words there. Just take a look at them and see. I'm not going to read them all off. Just see if anything sticks out on you. If you want to just type in the chat box if there's one that you're particularly surprised by, you can go ahead and share that now. I know a couple surprised me, even with this age group, and I'll share one that surprised me in a little bit. But if you want to type in if there's anything that surprises you in there. They might all. I'm surprised by overwhelmed. Yeah, I think that's a bigger feeling word too. Troubled, tense. Mm-hmm. So this chart is kind of cool. A couple of them will surprise you, but it's also a good point for you to take these words. And we have Jackie and I made some resources available, and this feelings chart will be one of them that we can share with you. You can take this chart and use it as you're developing vocabulary with your children. The one that surprised me was actually fed up, because a lot of times when we're working with young children, we try to stay away from idioms because they're harder to understand. So I thought it was interesting that fed up had made this list. And I don't even know if it's that common language anymore. I haven't heard anyone say it in a long time either. So that one surprised me. But that's a list of feeling words. And again, we'll share that with you. We'll have resources. We'll show you how to access them at the end of the presentation, or we'll email it out to everyone who's on here. So going into the next things, we have our feelings words, but we're not going to learn about our feelings just by the words. We're going to need the pictures too. So we're moving to feelings faces, a visual. And this, again, visuals were a theme of our presentation last time with clear expectations and rules, using visuals to teach them. It's the same thing when you're teaching really any topic to a young child. You're going to want a visual put with it. So this is some feeling faces on your screen. They are all labeled, so you can see on these particular faces which one's resembling sad, which one's nervous, which one's frustrated or feeling embarrassed. So when you're teaching the words, having these visuals, they can look to understand the emotions. And with that, these characters, these are characters, and they're similar in this screen, but they're different. Another option for visuals is to use human faces. So these are the faces of actual children displaying some of the same and different emotions. Does anyone have any feelings about the characters versus the humans on what they think would be more helpful for their child? You could type it if you do. If you think the characters are humans, there's really not a right answer. Both are fine to use. There is some research that shows that the children can relate better to the human faces. This particular chart we do use in both of our preschool buildings currently. It's in our hallways and it's in our classrooms. So if your child attends our preschool program, they'd be familiar with these faces. I think thank you for that comment, Nicole. I think human faces might be more helpful because this is what they see at school. Yep. So this is a chart currently used in our classrooms. And again, we'll share this resource with you if you want to use it in your home as well.
I was just going to say, Stephanie, I think like the other ones up here, maybe for like a first grader or second grader, because they would be easier to draw. So if students wanted to draw them and represent emotion, that might like for them to see that how easy it is to actually draw it too, so they can represent it in a drawing too.
And that's that's a really great point. That's one of the ways, we shared on a list to talk about, learn about the emotions. That's a way you can use art to do it, to draw out emotions, paint, things like making faces out of Play-Doh, so like that. So going into that, the use of games when teaching emotions. So it'll come up here. There's a few games listed, but the use of games, you can teach feelings. You can match, pictures to words. I think if you click again, it'll say, but we have feelings bingo, which you can see the picture on there. You can play this in the classroom or at home with your children. You could see the bingo card there is just the pictures. They're not labeled. And then the other picture is feelings matching, which, if your child can't read, you would do this activity with them, but you can pick the face from the bottom and put it into the face it resembles. We also have emotion charades. It's fun. I've done that in the classroom with kids before. They really like it. You could come up and, you can have them pick out of a hat, or you can just let them choose their own, and they could kind of show you their face, or, pretend they're crying, and their peers have to guess which emotion they're acting out. So, crying would be someone who's acting out sad. There's also I Have Who Has Feelings game. The I Have Who Has is a Tools of the Mind game that your children are already familiar with playing. So you could play that with emotions. It's a double sided card, and one child puts down, I have angry, who has silly, and then the child would find their silly card and they'd add theirs to the pile. And then the matching emotions, which I talked about. So the use of games is a way to teach the feeling words with the faces, and the bonus is that you can have fun while you're doing it. Next, we'll move on to use of songs to teach those emotions, or that emotional vocabulary. So you can teach feeling words and expand upon what you can do when you feel, when you experience the feelings. And the bonus again is that you're having fun. So one example of this is the if you're happy and you know it. So I'll spare you my singing voice, but you could see the emotion words are coming up in red here. So if you're happy and you know it, hug your mom. If you're sad and you know it, cry a tear. Boo hoo. If you're mad and you know it, use your words. I'm mad. If you're scared and you know it, get some help. Help. So it's actually a really cute one, well thought out. And again, like with if you're mad and you know it, use your words. So you're labeling an emotion and you're teaching a skill to use when you're mad by saying use your words. Um, Use of books. I love to use books. This is a really great one because you're not just learning reading and writing, you're learning about emotions while you're doing it. So reading books helps to build emotional vocabulary, understanding, and social emotional skills. Books are also really great to use because children may be able to relate to characters and stories. And it may also be easier for children to talk about a character rather than themselves. You know, they could talk about how Susie in the book was feeling. It takes a little bit of pressure about talking about themselves, take some pressure off. And bonus, reading books with your children is a great way to spend time together. So I just posted like 3 titles in here: Glad Monster, Sad Monster, The Way I Feel, in the Feelings book. They are all about general feelings. We also have a book list to share with you, but that has some resources. Like if you were looking for a specific topic, a book on anger or a book on being worried or anxious. If you go to the next slide, I'm going to show you about reading the books. While you're reading, it's important that you have a book that's at your child's level. It's important to keep it fun and engaging. So you can use different voices or ask questions throughout the story. So this page here, all these 3 pages are from The Way You Feel, which is one of my very favorite feelings books. So if you see on angry, the whole page is even red, and there's a visual of someone feeling angry, and it says how I might read it to a child or student is, angry is how I feel right now. I shout with a mighty roar. I mostly want to frown and growl and stomp upon the floor and stomp. And it's great to give those inflections in your tone and those nonverbals with your own face and your own stomping of your feet to really teach what that emotion might look like or play out like. I also put the happy page, and then the page across the bottom is the last page in that particular story. And when I read this to my students, I always tell them this is the most important page in the book and to really listen. And that page reads, feelings come and feelings go. I never know what they'll be. Silly or angry, happy or sad, they're all a part of me. So again, this goes back to those feelings being valid. We really can't control what we're going to feel, how we're going to feel, when we're going to feel it. And all of our feelings are valid. It's okay to feel all these different ways. And then we move on to teaching the next part. Once you can label and identify your feelings, it's the how you respond or react to that feeling. That's really important. So I had that one. And this kind of moves us into the controlling anger and impulse, which Jackie is going to share a little bit about.
So we've been talking about helping our children learn and recognize and name their own emotions and feelings. And this is important for children in learning how to control their emotions. A child has to recognize that they feel angry before they can learn how to control that emotion. Having a label for what a child feels helps them to vocalize their feelings instead of acting out. So I'm sure this has happened to you at some point and you've become upset and your partner says to you, just calm down. So I don't know about you, but me, I'm just like, don't tell me to calm down. I get even more frustrated when somebody tells me to do that. But when we say it to our children, what does that really mean? What does calm mean down? And this goes back to our last session, if you were with us, when we were creating their rules. We want to really tell children what we expect from them, just like Mrs. Matthews said in the chat. We want to tell them what to do, explain what to do instead of not what to do. So we want to make them clear. And if our rule would just be calm down, children don't know what that means. And if you label it and give exact ways on how to control the anger and impulse, you can then say to them, now you've calmed down, and start explaining to them what exactly calm down looks like as well. So we have to make sure the child understands what we are asking them to do and how children can be successful. How can they be successful at responding if they don't know what we are asking from them? And children feel anger in different ways, just as we do. From our experiences, we have been taught or have figured out by now when to walk away or cool down, be cautious or get some help from somebody else. But young children haven't learned these skills yet, and we can help them learn by intentionally teaching the skills they need. So a technique sometimes we use in school is called the turtle tuck. This was originally developed, which I thought was very interesting, to teach adults anger management skills. And it has successfully adapted and integrated into social skills programs for preschoolers. So this is how you can teach your child about the secret of the turtle and how the turtle uses his shell to help him calm down. The first step is to recognize that you feel angry. So, you get hit in the head. And the second step is to stop and think. Then the third step is to go into your shell and take 3 deep breaths and think calming thoughts. And the fourth step is to come out of your shell when you are ready and to try some of the ideas that you thought of. So again, there's a lot of steps in there that we have to teach children. We have to teach children to recognize their feelings. That's why we want to really encourage all those feeling words when children are having feelings, saying, you look angry, you look tired, you look frustrated, you look fed up, giving those words to them. You look overwhelmed. And then teaching them to stop and taking those breaths and to coming out of the shell and thinking of a calming solution, which we'll go into more later to try and teach them how to think of solutions. So you can help your child practice the turtle tuck with them by pretending to go into your shell together and take 3 deep breaths. Or you could use a sheet to go under or a towel as your shell. Kids love props. Or you can make this turtle box. I thought it was so cute. I mean, obviously this is gigantic. I don't know if I want this in my living room, but maybe you can make something small in the corner and have a green towel, and that's their turtle. But just an idea. So there's also a social story called Tucker the Turtle Takes Time to Talk and Think. And we'll go through this briefly. So if we had a student in school, or if you have your child at home, this will be one of the resources that's available. You can print it out and read it to your child at bedtime or whenever you're reading. And it helps script them on how to use the turtle technique. And I don't know if you noticed, Tucker has been a little modernized finally. So you could always print this story out. So it's Tucker is a terrific turtle. He likes to play with his friends at school. Sometimes things happen that make Tucker really mad. So again, here he is identifying his feelings. Say, look, Tucker is saying he's mad. So he's saying he is mad because somebody said they can't play with him. Then you can say, how would you feel? Oh, you would be mad too. What do you think you would do? They might have solutions. You could say, that's really great ideas. Or, oh, you don't know? Let's read the story and find out more. Or let's see if Tucker does the same thing you thought he should do. It used to be that when Tucker got mad, he would kick, hit, or yell at his friends, and he would get sad and scared. Tucker now knows a new way to stay calm when he gets mad. So step 1, he can stop yelling and keep his hands and body to himself. He can tuck in his shell and take 3 deep breaths to calm down. Tucker can think of a solution to his problem. When Tucker stops and thinks, his body is calm and feels better. When he uses gentle touches and kind words with his friends, they feel happy and safe. The end. So this is just a story to read over and over again and discuss how Tucker was feeling When are other times we could use the shell technique? This also gives different ways to help children think of different solutions, asking a teacher, or you could say ask a parent, play together. And these are just tips for a teacher. But this is something we would read in class with the students and then go over it. This way, when a challenging behavior starts to arise, you've already practiced it. So we want to read it before the challenging behavior happens so they know what to do. And it won't be unfamiliar because you obviously do not want to try teaching this while the challenging behavior is happening. Children love visuals. It gives you different techniques and possible solutions. And again, in our digital backpack, this will be included. And I'll show you later where it is on the BRIC website. And also, if you want to put your email address in the chat right now, we could email you all the files as well. So if you throw it in there, we'll have a list of everybody. So if you want your child to learn to use the turtle tuck, you need to teach the skills step by step and provide many opportunities for review and practice, just like we talked about in the last Parent Academy. You want to encourage your child to use the turtle tuck and celebrate their successes. You may want to show your child that you can use the turtle tuck too. So for example, you spill something and you be like, oh, I'm so angry that I spilled that water. I am going to tuck into my shell and take 3 deep breaths. And then you tuck down, breathe, say 1, 2, 3. I feel better now. You know what I can do? I'm going to get a paper towel and I'm going to clean up this spill. So this is just bigger pictures of the little one about the tucker thing. And you can print these out, hang them on the fridge so they're referenced so kids are always seeing them. And we can also help children. This is you, Miss Stephanie, right?
Yes. Yeah, I was on mute, so I'm sorry.
That's all right.
So that's right. You can put the first one up there. Yep. We move into the problem solving steps. And this is also, we kind of teach it in a 4-step process, but it molds very nicely with Tucker the Turtle. So even though this has its own 4 steps, where you would place this, if you were using the turtle, it's really right between step 3 and step 4 of your turtle. So it would be after you take your 3 deep breaths and you're calm, and before you come out of your shell. So you can stay in your shell to go through the problem solving steps. So, problem solving is a skill that, again, needs to be taught. So, we're working with very young children here. So we break that down into 4 steps. So the first step 1 is, what is my problem? Define my problem. So you need to identify that there's a problem. Then step 2 would be to think of some possible solutions to your problem. So you want to come up with more than one solution if you're brainstorming with your child or on your own. Step 3, what would happen next if I use that solution? So you kind of want to play out the solution in your head and help your child do the same. You see the little image has like a sad face or a happy face. If I use this solution, am I going to have a good outcome or a negative, positive outcome or a negative outcome? Is it a good choice? Is it a safe choice? And then step 4 is to try out the best solution. So with that, if you go on to the next slide, it'll show ways to some examples of positive solutions you can help your child come up with. So part of that could be get an adult, ask nicely, ignore what's happening, play somewhere else, say please stop, say please, share, trade toys or item, wait and take turns. So those are some possible solutions that children will need to learn in order to problem solve. They're not just going to know how to come up with solutions on their own. until they've gone through problem solving with an adult guiding them. So when you focus on these solutions, you don't have to do everyone every time. You may want to focus on just two of them and play two situations out, and then decide on the best one. So there's like problem solving games here. We're not going to go through every one, but I'd love some feedback on one we could do together. So maybe that first one there, the problem is, what if your sister hit you? How would you feel? What could you do? So if anyone wants to type in the chat box on the first one, like I said, we're not gonna go through every single one, but if we get some feedback on this first one, and maybe we'll do one more. If your sister hit you, how would you feel, and what could you do? So we'll play that out, problem solve it together. Yeah. So seeing two chats came back, feeling angry and sad, and someone else would feel mad. Yeah, those are the same feelings that I think I would feel as well. And what could you do? The two solutions offered were, I would tell mom. Can't even think of a solution besides telling mom. What could the child do in that situation? What's an alternative solution? And I know some of you may be listening on your phones too, so it may be hard to type in the chat. So if you wanted to come on and talk, that would be okay. So someone's typing in here, maybe a child would hit their sister back. That could be a reaction to it, and it could be part of the child's problem solving. If you play that out with them, it's actually a really good example. We're going to play all these out in a minute. Another one says, walk away and do something else. Tell her to stop. And I'll add one into the mix. You could just ignore it. So cry and act sad. Great. So let's play some of those out. And I'm just going to go through the steps. Like, once we think of solutions, the next step is to think about the consequences. So that was step 3. If I choose this solution, what will happen? So we need to consider, when we're problem solving, would it be safe? Would someone get hurt? 2, would it be fair? And 3, would everyone feel okay about it? And if your solution that you come up with hits on all 3 of those, then it's probably a good solution to try. So that first solution that came up, I would tell mom. Would that be safe? Yes, it would be safe to tell your mom or another parent. Would it be fair? It would be, because your sister hit you, and in your home it's a rule that's not allowed. We don't hit people, and maybe you got hurt. So yes, it would be fair, safe and fair to tell mom. And would everyone feel okay about it? That's kind of tricky, because your sibling might get upset that you told mom, but it's a situation where you may need to tell mom, because you need mom's help to handle it, depending on the ages involved and the severity of the hit. So that would be a okay solution to your problem. I want to jump down to, maybe a child would hit their sister back. Okay, so my sister hit me. I can hit my sister back. Would it be safe? Could someone get hurt? So no, it would not be safe. And yes, someone could get hurt. So we could stop right there and say, it's not safe. That's not the solution to choose. That's not a good solution for the problem we have right now. Tell her to stop. You can say, please stop hitting me on your own. That might even be a great starting point, depending on the ages of the children. And then if the hitting continues, you may want to go to the solution where you're telling mom. But I think you guys understand, once you come up with the solution, then you got to check if it's a positive solution to use. And then once we know that it's a positive solution to use, we can choose it and use that solution. So these problem solving games, there's a couple more bullets here, and then on the next slide as well, are really scenarios and situations you can play out with your own children in your home. You can role play these situations with your child where you're the sister, your child's the sibling, and you fake hitting, and you can walk through the steps that way too. Another way to play games to go through these situations is to use puppets or dolls, other objects to act out the scenarios, and assign like role play, but with the puppets. So assign emotions and feelings with them, act out what's happening. And if you've never used a puppet with your child, I suggest you try it. It's really magic. I know in my capacity at work, I work with children sometimes who may be shy or not talk at all, and you put a puppet in their hand, and you will typically learn a lot. They will feel comfortable speaking about different emotions because they're doing it through the puppet and not themselves. So that's one of the ways you can play these games and practice it.
I was just going to add, one way would be like if you printed out these two slides with all these things and like put them in a jar on your table, and when you're eating dinner, like every night you pick one, and then you have a nice dinner conversation about things that you would happen. Then you have the older kids giving ideas and some younger kids giving ideas. And I also wanted to say, these are the kind of questions that we will ask the students in school during Share the News, and have them share with their peers.
And these are some more bullets. Again, we're not going to tease them all out together, but I want to include them here so you can see them. Just different scenarios that can come up. So, if you wanted to play with your sister and her friends, but they said no, how would you feel? What could you do? If it was bedtime, you wanted to hear one more book, what could you do? And you could play out these situations and scenarios with your children at home. So go on to the next. So setting the stage for success. So again, with problem solving and all of this put together, you want to try and anticipate the problems. You want to stay near your child. You want to support your child, and you want to encourage your child. So anticipating problems means, right, like say you're going to go to the park, and your child has a favorite swing at the park, but that swing might be in use by another child. Sometimes you can anticipate that, and you can have a conversation with your child to kind of role play that situation before you get to the park. You can say, okay, sometimes when we get to the park, there's another child on your favorite swing. If that happens today, what's something you can do? Let's think of some solutions. So, and two solutions could be that your child and you can come up with together, or you can go right up to the child and say, may I have a turn on the swing, and ask for a turn. Another solution could be, I'm going to play in the sandbox that's nearby, just play in another area until the swing is available. So that would be an example of anticipating the problem. Staying near your child and supporting your child. In order to be able to really teach your child problem solving in the moment, you'll need to be near them. So you're ready. You're ready and you're close by if a problem's going to occur. And it's that same thing, just walking them through the process. Supporting your child. When they're problem solving, it's important that you don't criticize or shut any of their ideas down, because then they will retreat on coming up with ideas. So even again, like that example, I love that it got typed in, maybe I hit my sister back, you don't say to your child, no, that's a bad idea. You're going to want to play it out and have them think, is it safe or not? Is this a good choice or a bad choice? You definitely want to support your child in the process. All of their ideas are welcome. You don't shoot them down. You play them out and have them learn with you, whether it's a positive or a negative choice. And encourage your child. And this could be done by just verbal praise. Wow, that was great problem solving. I'm so proud of you. And it could be something more subtle than that. Maybe you're across the room at a party, but you saw your child asked to take a turn on something, you can give them a subtle kind of thumbs up across the room and a smile, and that will encourage them to keep making those good choices. I know I actually use the thumbs up with my children a lot when I'm across the room from them, and they smile, they light up at the praise of just a thumbs up. They're 2 and 4 years old, so they're younger, and they smile and get excited, and I'm like, oh no, stay where you are, just thumbs up, good job, keep doing what you're doing though, because they'll want to run over to me a lot of times, but something as simple as a thumbs up is encouragement and praise for them. So I think that's all I have on that.
I was going to add to encouraging. So say that happens and you're out, but you weren't with your partner or their dad, and then you go home, or your mom or the mom, when you go home, make it such a big deal about it too. Oh, Mom, you should see the way that Nathaniel handled when somebody took a toy from him. He used a turtle tuck, or he used his problem solving skills. Like you would have been so proud of him, and praise them to other people too. They really enjoy that as well, to help with encouragement.
Yeah. And then you're doing both. You were teaching in the moment, and then you're doing the reflective practice, and they're getting praise a second time from you and from an additional, adult or caretaker. That's awesome.
So today we focus on emotional vocabulary. We learned a lot of new words for emotions. We talked about controlling anger and disappointment. We gave you different techniques to practice with your child. We got Tucker and expressing your feelings. We also discussed problem solving and the steps that you can teach your child. So now, again, we want you to try some things at home. So we want to pick a strategy that we talked about during this session. And give it a try. We would like you to maybe type in the chat something you think you might try at home. Maybe trying just different feeling words, printing out the feelings chart at home to hang on your fridge or in their room. Maybe you're going to go to the library and read feelings books. And the library is a really great resource to go to. Like, the people there are so wonderful. If you go in and we're like, I really would like some books on feelings so we can discuss feelings. They are so helpful there, and we'll give you great age-appropriate books. Maybe you're going to print out and read Tucker the Turtle and practice modeling that behavior. So I see somebody's going to model some problem-solving behaviors.
And that's great too. And I went over that quickly too. When you're doing the problem solving with your children, the model problem solving behaviors would look like, say your car won't start and you need to take your child to school. You could say, oh no, you want to play it out loud verbally so your children are hearing you go through the process. So, oh no, my car won't start. What could I do? Okay, I'm going to take a deep breath. Okay, one option, we can catch the bus for school. Another option, maybe Aunt Sue could come drive you to school. A third option, we could ask the neighbor to jump our vehicle so it starts and runs again. So that would be an example of modeling the problem-solving behaviors, which is a great way for children to learn if you model things for them.
So Mrs. Matthews said she thinks she's going to try the feeling chart so that her children can start pointing and telling how they feel, and maybe practice some problem solving and asking what they could do.
And that's really great too. I love that one too, using pointing to the feeling chart. If your child is a nonverbal child, or a child with speech delay, or a cognitive disability where they're not speaking yet, you use those pictures. You still use all your words and vocabulary, but have them point. When you're reading a story, point to the girl that feels happy or mad, point on the chart. So that's great. Thank you for your feedback.
So we just want to say thank you for coming, and hopefully you can join us for our next one in our last of this series, Facing the Challenge, and really getting into when those super challenging behaviors have started, and that is April 7th. So if you have any questions, you can come off mute or type them in the chat. And if not, thank you for joining us tonight.